All right, welcome back inside the Media Center here at the CPKC Women's Open. I am pleased to be joined by the three-time champ of this wonderful event, Lydia Ko. Lydia, welcome back to the CPKC Women's Open and welcome back to Vancouver. Just overall, how are you feeling going into this week and this event?
Yeah, I think we were meant to be here at Shaughnessy a couple years ago, and obviously with COVID and everything, we're finally here, which is nice. I'd heard a lot of great things about the golf club, and I have very fond memories of being in Vancouver. So yeah, it's exciting to be here. Even from yesterday, we had like a ton of people that are out watching, and I think they're just as excited as we are, and I think it's going to be a great week.
It goes without saying that the Vancouver area has been kind to you and you've been kind to the Vancouver area. What does it mean to you to be back in a place that's so familiar to you and those winning ways all those years ago?
Yeah, I'd actually never been to this side of Vancouver before. You know, I I guess when we played at Vancouver Golf Club, we stayed in the Coquitlam area, and I didn't know that there was also another good golf course here, a little closer to the airport. I had my first LPGA win in Vancouver, and I think that's kind of where everything started. And who knows, if I didn't win or I didn't play that event, maybe I might have not gotten the opportunities along the way. So, yeah, it's I think always going to be a very special place for me. And I said maybe like if I win like a fourth time, I'd be like an honorary Canadian by then. Yeah.
I feel like they'd be happy to have you. One more before we open it up here, but just going into this event, preparing for a golf for a course as of this, we've heard of the kind of challenging conditions. How have you felt as you've been able to take a look at the course over the last couple of days?
Yeah, it's a very traditional style golf course. I saw on the pavement said like 1911, so I'm guessing like that's how long the golf course has been. So it's been around for a while, and so that's kind of what you expect on a golf course like this, tree lined, narrow fairways. Not super small greens, but the greens are very sectioned off where there's a lot of runoff. So even though like the number might say it's 30 yards, you can't use all of that. So it is tricky, and I think the front nine and back nine are a little different, like have their own different like personality. But I think this might be the toughest Canadian Open venue that I've played at yet, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun. And it seems like a golf course that like will be good for a lot of players, and like because there's a lot of holes that are like draw, like fade, so it's not just like suited for one shot shape or one length. And I think that's what's going to make it exciting, and I'm sure it's going to be a very mixed and exciting leaderboard on Sunday.
All right, we'll start to open it up here for questions. Down here in front with John.
Hey Lydia, John Chidley Hill with the Canadian Press. Welcome back to Canada. Obviously, you've had a lot of success at this tournament over the years. I'm just curious, like, in your career as a whole, how important has this tournament been for you?
Yeah, very important. Like I said earlier, I actually got a sponsor invite to play here in 2012, and then I got a sponsor invite to play another event on a different tour that same week. And like, imagine if I'd played the other one. Like, I don't know, like, what would have been, like, the story that unfolds after that. I'd won the U.S. Women's Am, like, I think only a couple weeks prior to the Canadian Women's Open in 2012, and I was, on cloud nine, winning probably one of the biggest or the most prestigious women's amateur championship. And I was just excited coming off from that win, and being here, being in Vancouver, playing alongside the best female golfers. Everything was like happening so quickly in front of me that I was just trying to enjoy that moment. And I remember just setting a goal of, hey, I'm just going to try and make the cut and see where I go from there. And no, I obviously played really well and finished played really well on that last day as well. So yeah, it's I think it's kind of been that starting point. And I think sometimes it's really, you might be like at the finish line and it's really hard to go like take that one step over, and that might have been that trigger for me. And you know, I got to win again in Edmonton the year after as well. So yeah, it's always going to be special, and I think, you know, no matter how I play, I always enjoy coming here, and I think the Canadian fans have kind of taken me in, like behind all the Canadian players. So it's just I've become very appreciative of all their support too.
You just touched on it a little bit, but like other athletes who are from Australia and New Zealand have remarked that like Canadian fans are really nice to them, I guess because of the Commonwealth of Nations, or I'm not 100% sure. You feel that though?
Yeah, even in my pro-am, you know, everybody's clapping when I hit a fairway or hit a green or make the putt. I think everyone's super supportive, and I don't know, like it might be that Commonwealth like common ground. And I mean, I love it so much here that at one point I think I was like Googling, oh, does New Zealanders get any like privileges in getting like permanent residency like or visas in Canada? So that's just how much I love it. One of my favorite Korean restaurants outside of Korea is also in like Vancouver. I used to have a relationship with Lululemon, so it's just, I think it's gotten to become a place where I have a lot of great memories, and I think a lot of people here just really appreciate seeing us and are like true golf fans, and like not in a weird way. And you know, it's just great to be a part of that. And no matter if we play in Vancouver or Ottawa or Regina or like wherever, it's like I think the location is like a secondary thing, and it's just like Canadian people always have that Canadian welcome. And I think, I mean, Brooke is a clear example because she's one of the nicest, like most genuine human beings in the whole entire world. That I said yesterday, she's my favorite Canadian celebrity. So it's just, I think that just shows what the country is like, and I feel like I see a lot of New Zealand being here in Vancouver. So yeah, only good things.
All right.
Hi, Lydia. Welcome back. Is there a particular moment that comes to mind when you think back to 2012?
Yes. I think I was in the final round with GA and Stacey
Stacey.
Lewis. And Stacey after the 15th hole, like I think the hole was kind of this way, and then 16 was like over this way. And I think after the 15th hole, as we were walking to 16, she said like, "Hey, you're playing really great, like finish strong." And I was like, oh my God, like Stacey Lewis just like gave me this amazing advice. Like everybody knows in golf, like anything can happen in 3 holes. And for her to like say that, and I know like for her, one of the best golfers in the world, to like kind of give me that advice and support me, I was like, wow, like I want to be alongside, you know, these players one day, and I want to be a role model like her. And I think that's probably the most standout. Like, yes, winning and everything was like awesome, but I just remember that to this day. And like along the way, like Stacey will give me these like great advice, and I think she's probably given me, like, she might not remember it, I don't know, but she's always kind of been like that kind of person and that player. And I think that's probably my biggest standout memory from 2012. And yeah, I just remember it to this day because I was like, wow, like Stacey Lewis just said that to me. And I think I was like more amped up after that.
Right.
Yeah.
You've obviously gone on to have a wonderful career since then. You seem to be struggling a bit this year. Where are you at with your game, and what has sort of held you back this year?
Yeah, you know, last year was probably, I think, one of the most consistent golf I'd ever played. You know, I was number 1 early in my career, and at a point where I was like, I don't even know if I deserved to be number 1. And even when I became number 1 this year, I was like, wow, there's so many good players. Like, I don't know if I feel like number 1. But I like on and off the golf course, so many like great things happened, and it was a year that like even going into 2022, like I couldn't have written all those things like in my diary of goals of what I want to achieve in the year. And I think there was a lot of expectations coming into this year, and like whether that's external or internal, like what kind of pressure I put on myself. And I won my first event to start the season, and it would have been great if I kind of kept going and like riding the high of all that. But golf is not easy. I think the last couple months it's like interesting where I feel like I'm progressing, but the results are not necessarily like showing that. Like the scores aren't like perfect reflection of how I feel like I'm going, but I do feel like I am moving in the right direction, and that's all you can do. And I was talking with my coaches, and he said, hey, like, did you feel like you were better this week than the week before? And I was like, yeah, but like it's weird to say yes but you miss a cut. Like you can't really like, I don't think there's many other things that you say you got better but the results got worse, so sometimes I think it is really hard to put all those things together, and I feel like I'm working on the right things with my team, and that's all I can do. And I've had my own ups and downs, when I wasn't playing as well in 2000 and like 18, 19, 17, like I wasn't sure if I'd ever win again, and then winning in 2021 was like a it was like proving it to myself that I could be back there. And obviously when you're struggling, it's really hard to see the good side of things, but my team has kind of kept me walking with my head high, and I think we are moving in the right direction. So I'm just trying to stay patient, and as long as I know that I'm getting better and I'm doing my 100% to get better, then that's all I can do. So that's what I'm gonna continue to work on, and I still have like 10-ish events this year. So I'm just gonna try and do a good job of playing this crazy game.
All right, last call for any questions before I wrap it. Oh, down here.
Me again. I was curious, what do you think of the rink hole at number 17, the hockey-themed hole? We were talking before about, the Canadian fans, because that's sort of going to be the center of the action for fan interactions for you and the other players.
Yeah, I think they had that like similar setup on, was it 17 last year too? Yeah, so they had that there, and at first I was like, why the heck are people like slamming on the boards? I was like, that's not normal. But then they're like, oh, it's a hockey thing, and I was okay, like maybe I should like watch the NHL a little bit, and like realize, oh, this is like a very common thing. And yeah, it's yesterday that I think the volunteers were like doing that. They're like, you guys have to practice. It's gonna be like this on Thursday onwards, and it's really cool. I'm learning more things about Canada like through these kind of experiences. I realized a beaver is your national animal. You don't want to know what I first thought. I was like jokingly, hey, is maple leaf an animal? Obviously it's not. And then I thought like the Blue Jays for the Toronto Blue Jays. But yeah, no, it's I'm getting to learn a lot of these like different things about these places that we go to, and I think that's the perk of our job. As much as sometimes being on this time zone and being in a different time zone the week after might not be the easiest thing, but we get to experience different cultures. And like even here, like Vancouver is different to Toronto, and like every city is different, so it's a really cool thing that we get to experience as golfers. So yeah, I love it, and I think CPKC alongside Golf Canada has always done a great job with this event, and I'm sure this year's just going to be another follow-up of their amazing hospitality and hosting us.
All right, well, I don't make the rules, but if I did, I'd probably make you an honorary Canadian.
Thank you.
But thank you for coming through, Lydia.
Thank you.